Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to Grapperinos, the wrestling pizzeria where we serve you a slice of probably next week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and joining me in this is the endeavor. He's an Oba feminist, Oba Femi boy. I am not sure what you call Oba Femi fans, but he may be
Oba,
one. Mike,
Oba
say hi,
Femboy
Mike.
was Oba Femboy was right there, Brian. You almost had it. You almost had it.
I don't know.
I'm not an Oba Femboy. I am. I, to be honest with you, was sort of in Jey Uso's camp just because I wanted to see the world burn. But I personally thought that in both Queen and King of the Ring matches, the right people won. So, which is good.
Okay.
Which is good.
All right. Yeah. Some pretty good decisions were made on that Night of Champions PLE that happened over the weekend. So it's pretty good. I guess before we move on, any sort of quick thoughts on the program, the PLE? Anything you liked, disliked?
Just from the Raw side, because most of the matches actually were from the Raw side. It was almost a total Raw pay-per-view, except for, I believe, the Women's U.S. title and the WWE title, which we will get to in the SmackDown episode. And that's a whole other can of fucking worms that we have to talk about. Because, oh boy, something happened. Nothing ever happens chuds have been defeated. And something actually did happen. Anyway, I think it was overall a solid show. I went in thinking it was extremely predictable, and it kind of was. I thought Io was pretty much a shoo-in to win her match. I thought Oba was pretty much a shoo-in to win her match. Well, I originally actually thought that Oba was going to lose thanks to Brock, but Brock didn't show up. But most other people thought that Oba was pretty much a shoo-in to win his match, which he did. I thought that Jey got in a decent amount of offense and made him look a bit mortal, which will help ease him into a potential storyline with Roman, because Roman is Roman Reigns, so having Oba squash him is not great, but I think Jey making Oba look at least a little bit beatable makes it believable that Roman might be able to beat him at SummerSlam. And then the only other Raw match was Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker continues to be buried on the roster, much like that scene from Toy Story where Sid tosses one of his toys on the ground. They don't want to play with Braun Breaker anymore because they have Oba Femi. So I don't really know where Braun Breaker goes. I think he honestly should go to SmackDown. I think the Division needs to die at this point. They lost the tag team titles. Braun Breaker lost against Seth Rollins. Paul Heyman is out. I think now is the time to put this faction to bed and move on with everything else. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do have a theory. I also have some other things planned. I don't know if they'll go through with it, but it's just my sort of idea, and we'll see if they go through with it. Anyway, yeah, my opinion of the show, it was mid, honestly. It was okay. I think the crowd at Saudi Arabia was just kind of eh. I don't think they popped for a lot, but considering the matches, I wouldn't be excited for much of them anyway. So I think the best match probably was either the steel cage match or the main event, depending on, what kind of flavor you like in your wrestling. But yeah, it was just an okay show. Good decisions, in my opinion, with regards to who won. And hopefully we'll see them follow up on those better moving forward. We'll see, though. But anyway, we are doing the show to predict what they think they'll do on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. As we, I think the next one is Saturday Night's main event in July and then SummerSlam. So we'll see how they get there as we try to book and predict the next episode of Monday Night Raw according to these rules. And after that, after we tell you, the predictions and bookings from our side for the next episode of Monday Night Raw, we will then watch the actual next episode of Monday Night Raw and score our predictions and bookings based on this scoring system. And then we will tell you what we got on the next episode of this show, and we'll do the whole thing over again. So, scores. I only got 2 points. And I think it's just for the Jey Uso and Oba Femi appearances. I did not predict any of the predicted matches correctly, or I should say announced matches correctly. So, just Jey Uso and Oba Femi. Oh well. What about you, Mike?
I had 5 points. I had 2 from Oba Femi and Jey Uso in their face-off. I don't believe that was booked. I had 1 from Brie and Paige winning their title fight, and I had 2 from the Vision losing to the Street Profits, or the Street Profits winning their title fight with Seth Rollins getting involved as well. I did have Chad Gable apologizing to Alpha Academy, but I had that as a backstage segment and not a full-blown promo, which I also have to comment was actually really good. Maxine really has improved her promo ability. The best heel is one that is believable, and honestly, Maxine was speaking facts. You know, it wasn't some nonsensical, like, I hate you because of this stupid reason. Maxine it definitely had truth to it, and that's the best type of heel turn, the heel can be somewhat agreeable.
Yeah, indeed. No, definitely agree. I think that segment was well done. And I think Maxine should keep hanging out with Austin Theory more if, this is what Austin Theory tells her. So, I guess. I don't know. Maybe Maxine is joining the Vision soon. I don't know. But, yeah. Let's go ahead to what is announced. So, we only have Roman Reigns, I think. And that's about it. Yeah. I think so. Okay, well, yeah.
We also have announced this week. It wasn't announced, but it was revealed in last week's episode. Chad Gable versus a potentially catatonic JD McDonough.
What? Potentially catatonic?
Remember JD tried to steal Danhausen's money back, and he got electrocuted.
Oh.
And then he confronted Chad Gable backstage. Chad Gable wanted to fight Dominic, and then Dominic was like, "You can fight JD next week." So that has been confirmed for this show.
Oh, okay. Well, I do not have it on my card if that was announced. So, okay. Here's what I'll do. I will have for that one, and I will make it count for the points. So I'll predict for that one. What is it again? JD versus Danhausen?
It is JD versus Chad Gable, the original El Grande.
Okay, Chad Gable wins by pinfall. There you go. Chad Gable wins by pinfall. That's all I have for that. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Mike. With that, I guess we shall get started. And let's book this thing. Starting off with my version of the show first. As Roman Reigns heads to the ring. He talks about the King of the Ring match at Night of Champions. The finals, I mean. He says he is disappointed that his boy Jey Uso did not win. Yeet. He had put a lot of faith in Jey. But in the end, all Jey did is disappoint him. That's okay though, because whoever Oba picks, whether be it him or Sami Zayn, will make sure Oba does not conquer anything in the WWE. He is interrupted by Oba Femi, who gloats about his win on Saturday. He urges Roman to address him as King Oba. He says it was fun to crush Jey at Saudi Arabia, and now that he has conquered the King of the Ring tournament, it's time for him to conquer the World Heavyweight Championship. He challenges Roman to a match at SummerSlam. Roman goes all angry, and Jimmy gets angrier because of the Jey mention and what Oba Femi did to Jey. And he wants Roman to command him to let loose on Oba as revenge for Jey losing to Oba. Roman does, and Jimmy goes, but not before stopping him on his tracks. He picks up his mic, he says, how about we do a little test? You know, you challenged me to a match at SummerSlam. Let's see how capable you are when you take on my other boy, Jimmy Uso, tonight. And let's see if you beat him. Oba nods his head, he laughs as he walks to the back. I think the plan for SummerSlam, I'm still pushing with this, is Oba versus Roman. I do not think they're going with Oba versus I almost said Jey. Oba versus Sammy. I don't think that's happening. I think over there...
Oh, do you think Oba's going to be pulling double duty at SummerSlam?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
I have a theory for SmackDown, but I'm saving it for SmackDown, so I'm trying to not spoil it. But yeah, I have a theory for Sammy and his challengers or challenger. We'll see. But for now, I think Oba versus Roman is the plan. I think Oba is pulling double duty. I think that's the plan for sure. And I will have other forces play a role in the finish there, but I will talk about it when we head to the main event. But for now, let's move to a backstage segment involving the Judgment Day. Liv, she is unhappy that Io Sky won the Queen of the Ring tournament and that she wants Liv's title now at SummerSlam. She wants Raquel to take care of the Io situation as soon as possible. Raquel agrees, she walks away. Roxanne says, but what about me? And Liv tells her to just do nothing, stay in the HQ. JD McDonough is there. He probably has a match against Chad Gable. So why don't you just make sure that JD is okay? Liv once again walks over to Danhausen. Yes, I will have Danhausen on the show. She asks him for the money back once again, but Danhausen does not give her the human monies and keeps urging that she is cursed until he gets the human monies. Or more of it, or at least the next music video cameo or something like that. I don't know what his list of demands is now. She says that the curse doesn't exist, and she will prove it when she wins against Io at SummerSlam. She walks away as Danhausen continues to work on his latest experiment. So, I think...
Kayfabe, do you think that Danhausen is the most powerful person in the entirety of WWE?
I guess there's no other.
I mean, the only other person that puts in front of him is maybe like Undertaker at this point.
Yeah.
Like, man's power level.
I guess you could also say Karrion Kross, but, he's gone. So
Karrion Kross really... I mean, the only thing Karrion Kross did was, turn people heel. But, I mean, Danhausen out here, changing people's lives. So,
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that Karrion Kross was sort of responsible for people turning heel. And that's kind of powerful, in my opinion. But, yeah, I would say Danhausen is more powerful than him. So, yeah. I guess we gotta give Danhausen human monies because he has powers. So, believe that, I guess. Moving on to... I had Chad Gable versus Akira Tozawa here, but since you mentioned Chad Gable versus JD McDonough, I already said my piece about Chad Gable versus JD McDonough, so I guess we'll skip Chad Gable versus Akira Tozawa. But I will say if Chad Gable versus Akira Tozawa were to happen, it was to happen because of what happened last week, and I would have Chad Gable win either way, so whatever. We'll move on then to a Seth Rollins promo. Seth Rollins, he comes out. He says his feud with The Vision is over. And since Oba has stated who he is going to face at SummerSlam, Seth will be rethinking his options. And as he is, continuing to gloat, he is then attacked from out of nowhere by a returning Bronson Reed. Seth is then helped by Javon Evans, but Bronson is helped by the rest of the division, that being Austin Theory and Logan Paul, who come down to equalize the fight. So yes, I don't think the Vision feud is over with Seth, because, well, there's one member of the Vision left. He took the tag titles using the Street Profits from Logan and Austin. He conquered Braun Breaker. So now, one more to finally vanquish the Vision, and that guy's name is Bronson Reed. I think that will be the match at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. Maybe in night 1, maybe in night 2, who knows? But I think that will be a match at SummerSlam, and he could also play a role in helping Oba Femi get the title from Roman Reigns, which could lead to Roman versus Seth at Survivor Series in the War Games match. So we could probably have sort of, the Bloodline versus MFT thing, and Seth sort of joins the MFT side as they try to, oppose the Bloodline thing. Freaking Solo Sikoa needs some members, right? Because the rest of the MFT are out. So, yeah, I think that will be the plan, I guess. I mean, if they decide to finally end the feud, I'd be happy with it. But I think that they'll end it at SummerSlam instead because of Bronson Reed. So, there you go. Bayley takes on Lyra Valkyria is next. This is due to what happened last week when Lyra, I guess, crashed out. What is it with all these crash outs happening recently? Like, everyone is crashing out lately. What's going on? Is there not enough food in catering? Or, are the water bottles getting stocked? Like, what's going on? What's going on with these crash outs? Alright, there's too many people having a crash out when they lose. Alright? You people need to swallow your loss, take the L, and go back and, use that as a learning experience. Alright? Because L equates to learning. Anyway. Lyra Valkyria wins by winfall. After the match, Sol Ruka comes down to save Bayley, but Lyra attacks Sol and is on top as she raises the title. I think the match for SummerSlam or Saturday Night's Main Event, either one. I think Lyra Valkyria versus Sol Ruka, now that Lyra is a heel, and she can try to get it out of Sol Ruka. That'll be the feud going into SummerSlam. I think that should be good. Good match, and both of them are pretty capable, so yeah, absolutely. Ethan Page versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship is next, and I will have Penta win by pinfall after a distraction from the Luchadors and Rusev. After a match, a huge brawl breaks down. Adam Pearce comes out. He announces a fatal 5-way match at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship, featuring Penta, Rusev, Ethan Page, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio. A huge brawl continues, and Rusev is on top as the segment ends. So I think ultimately Penta will retain in that match, but I'm predicting a multi-man match for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. So there you go. Io Sky is up next. She talks about the Queen of the Ring win. She is now Queen Io, and says that she deserves the win because now she can go against Liv once more and take the title from her, so she and Rhea can finally dominate the women's division in the WWE. An angry Liv comes out. She says she will keep the title because she's the best women's champion of all time, and that there's nothing Io can do to stop her. Io urges Liv to come into the ring so she can beat her ass again like she did on Saturday, but Raquel attacks Io from behind instead. Liv laughs as Raquel beats up Io, and a match is announced next week where Io takes on Raquel Rodriguez. So this is just to build up their feud for SummerSlam, and I hope Io wins, because I think Liv is getting a little stale with the title reign, and I think Io could use it to sort of better the division. Sorry, Liv. And I also think that Roxanne Perez can play a role in the finish, considering that, she doesn't really have a role in the Judgment Day recently, so she's gonna try to exit out of the Judgment Day, and she will use that moment as sort of, an opportunity to try to walk away from the Judgment Day. So, there you go. I think Io Sky will win due to Roxanne Perez interference, so there you go. Backstage, again, we got the Bloodline 2000 2.0. Roman talks to his boys about the main event match tonight. He wants Jimmy to take care of this Oba Femi problem, and Jacob Fatu wants to get in on the action as well. And Roman says, aight. He commands Jacob to make sure Jimmy wins by any means necessary. And Jacob says, aight, because he acknowledges the Tribal Chief, or the OTC, and he walks with Jimmy for the main event, which is next, as Oba Femi takes on Jimmy Uso. And I will have Oba Femi win by pinfall after a distraction from Jacob Fatu is interrupted by one LA Knight. Jacob Fatu and LA Knight brawl amongst the crowd and away from the ring after the match. Meanwhile, Oba is attacked from out of nowhere by Roman Reigns. Roman does the Superman punch, he does all the moves, but he is stopped by Oba, who reverses one of his moves to a fall from Grace powerbomb. He gets all excited and stuff. The credits roll, the executive producer and the logo. Until Brock Lesnar shows up, he attacks Oba from behind and gets an F5 on him. Brock leaves the ring smiling as the show goes off the air. So yes, I do think Oba's pulling double duty. I think he is going to retire Brock Lesnar in night 1, and he is going to try to get the title from Roman Reigns on night 2. I don't know if he'll succeed in the latter, but I do think there is that Seth Rollins element, there is that LA Knight element to sort of balance out the bloodline, and he could have a chance, I think, but I think the plan is Oba versus Roman. I think that is a better match, in my opinion, than Oba versus Sammy, which just makes it seem like a squash match, and I don't think they want to do that. And as I said, I have a theory for SmackDown, so you gotta wait. You gotta wait for what I have for Sammy on that front. But for Raw, I do think we're heading towards Oba versus Roman, and there are a couple elements there that could lead into the War Games match at Survivor Series. So, there you go. Any questions besides, what you asked before?
No, I don't. I think I'm ready for my card. Yeah, I kind of agree with you that I think Oba is going to be pulling double duty at SummerSlam, because I think I do strongly believe that Brock Lesnar is going to retire in Minnesota at SummerSlam, and the only person to do so would be Oba Femi. So I think that'll happen night 1, and then night 2 will be him versus Roman, and I think Roman will retain. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it will definitely raise Oba's stock being, this sort of double duty guy. And I think he's capable of doing that. So might as well, put the rocket ship on him. I think people are gravitating towards him. I think the fans are there. Might as well strap him with a rocket. So I think this is them attempting to do that for sure. Okay. Let's move on to your card then, starting off my card, I have a Sami Zayn promo. I know we said we weren't going to talk about Sami Zayn until Friday, but I think that it's pretty viral at this point, and I think that with also SmackDown being taped on the same day, Sami Zayn will be in the building 100%, so I think Sami comes out, and just to kind of build off the hype that he got from winning the fucking WWE title, which is still insane to me that Sami is the champion. But again, we'll talk about that come a SmackDown if we decide to do SmackDown. Anyway,
So Sammy comes out and again just addresses the fans, thanking that those that supported him, his ride or dies, for their support. And he continues his tweener run by saying that he had to do what he had to do to win the title, and he deserves it after all the time that he's put in. And he is interrupted by Roman Reigns, who comes out to the ring with the bloodline in tow. And Roman comes out and he congratulates Sammy, saying that he's proud of him for finally reaching the mountaintop. But Roman's done this multiple times now, and this is Sammy's first championship, and also this is Roman's show and not Sammy's show. So there's a bit of a stare down between the two. Build off that previous history, and then they are all interrupted by Oba Femi, who walks out to the ring. Oba, now having to decide between these two individuals in the ring, says that while he congratulates Sammy for winning last night, he believes that his place is at Raw, and he believes that the greater challenge would be to take on Roman Reigns. While he respects Sammy for what he does, Oba does not want to choose the hardest option. He wants to conquer the tribal chief and become the one true ruler, and he chooses Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. Jey then comes out, again, they're all in the ring. Jey has some words for Oba, then they get into a bit of a scrum, and that's how this goes off the air, or that segment goes off the air anyway.
All right. Okay. I think do you have a main event that involves these guys? Or
I do, yes. Yes.
Okay. I will reserve my questions for the main event then. But for now, we'll move on from that to
Chad Gable versus J.D. McDonut. So, in the first match for the Judgment Day today, Chad Gable is able to win despite Judgment Day interfering. I think what happens is Dominic attempts to interfere on this match, but Dragon Lee is able to come out and help Chad Gable, preventing the Judgment Day from interfering in his match. And I think that this is building towards Chad Gable winning the IC title probably at SummerSlam against Penta. So
you're going against the multi-man idea for... Okay. I mean, that could also definitely work. Although, I think Penta... That would be like a face versus face match. But you know what? Whatever. I'm sure it'll be a great match either way. So...
Chad is an ultra face right now.
We'll move on.
You need to build off that.
Chad? Yeah. No, for sure. I was just saying that, fans would probably... I don't know, like gravitate towards Chad? They would gravitate towards Chad more than Penta, at least in my opinion. So it kind of makes it seem, one-sided, I guess, where it's pretty much a face versus face feud. It's just that more people like one face better than the other. So that's all I'm saying. It's not a face versus heel match. Unless you want to turn Penta heel. In that case, why would you? But I don't know. But yeah. Either way, great match. Or it's going to be at SummerSlam if that happens. So anyway, we'll move on from that to
a backstage segment. Seth Rollins arrives to Raw and is attacked by Jacob Fatu. There have been some rumors based off of what Roman said to Jacob last week that he told him to take out Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins, there's also been rumors that Seth Rollins will be involved in Roman's match at SummerSlam in some fashion, so I think that this is working Seth Rollins back into the Bloodline storyline again for like the 20th time. And yeah, he's attacked by Jacob Fatu because Roman told Jacob to do that. So I think this factors into the main event as well.
Okay. I was just gonna ask, are you planning like a Seth Rollins versus Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam, or where do you think Seth is going to be at SummerSlam? I know you mentioned the Roman thing, but
I think that is the way to go. I think that you have Seth versus Jacob Fatu in maybe a street fight, and that's how you can work Jacob or Seth back into the main event scene. So,
okay, fair enough. I thought you were gonna have him pull double duty as well, like have a match against like Jey Uso or something. I don't know, because we gotta put Jey Uso in there. I mean, why not? He's a merch seller. Anyway, okay, fair enough. Do you think like the division would show up, or is this the end?
No,
And if so, where do you think like?
I think division are done. I think we're done with this.
Okay.
Yep. So.
All right. So we're just gonna have all, what is it, 4 members? We're gonna have them go separate ways, I guess.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah.
Could you see some of them going to SmackDown?
Yeah, I could see Austin Theory maybe joining Alpha Academy and sort of becoming their new Chad Gable, with Maxine as his partner, friend, whatever, and sort of being the Chad Gable equivalent for when Chad was a heel with Alpha Academy. And then you could build potentially a storyline where Chad has to like rescue Otis and Tozawa from Austin Theory and company. So,
I like that actually. Like Alpha Academy has heels. That would be an interesting idea.
well, it's sort of like
Fair
when
enough.
Chad was a heel, but the rest of Alpha Academy were kind of face. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I still like it though. I like that iteration of Alpha Academy. Not sure why, but anyway, we'll move on from that to
A Liv Morgan promo comes out with Raquel and Roxanne Perez. As she comes out and announces herself as the greatest women's champion of all time, the crowd continues to chant that she is cursed, and Liv, being paranoid as fuck, continues to say that she is not cursed. She continues to look very frazzled, very worried about this curse, because Danhausen is, in kayfabe, the most powerful human to ever exist. The Fatal Influence decided to come out now because, they can't have anything. No one can have any fun in the women's tag team division without Fatal Influence being involved apparently right now. And they say that, they are here because they want to have a shot at the tag team titles. They've tagged to Adam Pearce, and Adam has said that in order to get a shot, they need to beat the other number one contender he has in mind, which is Raquel and Roxanne on the Judgment Day, and this match happens next.
okay. We'll move on to that match then. Yeah, we'll move on.
So, Fatal Influence versus the Judgment Day. This is the number one contendership match for the women's tag team titles. I think Fatal Influence win this one because Liv Morgan causes a distraction that goes wrong, and that causes the Judgment Day to lose. I think that this continues. I think the storyline going into SummerSlam is Liv is going to be utterly fucking petrified of this curse that fucking Danhausen of all people has put on her. And I think that we're just going to continue to see evidence of her being cursed throughout the weeks leading up to SummerSlam, this being one of them. So,
Yeah. It could be interesting to see where they go with it, I guess, or or how, they gotta find like fresh ways to kind of do this curse thing with Liv every week. But yeah, I don't know how this will help Liv in their match. It kind of makes it seem, I don't know, like predictable. So like, how would someone be like, oh, I think Liv is gonna win if All I'm saying is that if someone gets cursed, it kind of makes the match that they have, if they have one, seem kind of predictable. If you know what I mean, right? So, why be interested in EO versus Liv if you know what's going to happen anyway, right? I guess I could see the potential of Liv or the Judgment Day getting their money back, I guess. And, they can uncurse or they can be uncursed, I guess. But, I don't know. I just don't know how they can kind of freshen up this whole kind of deal and turn Liv into kind of like a schizo kind of crazy person. But, anyway. We'll move on from that to...
we have a Sol Ruka promo. So Sol Ruka comes out to ask what is next for her. And she is confronted by Lyra Valkyria. So Lyra comes out and explains why she turned on Bayley. She says that Bayley is washed. She doesn't have it anymore. Lyra is tired of being stuck in the mid-card. She wants a title match. She wants her title back. And I think that Lyra, being as she lost last time against Sol Ruka, says that without Bayley interfering in her life, she can win the title this time against Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka says, I think that you have some things to work out with Bayley, so I think you should do that first. And then Lyra attacks Sol Ruka, cementing her heel turn, and that begins a feud between the two. Just checking, by the way, cagematch.net, Danhausen is undefeated since he debuted in WWE in October. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 0 so far.
What can I say? Man has powers.
5 of those were him defeating The Miz at house shows. So it's like Danhausen and Minihausen versus Kit Wilson, The Miz, and then it's Danhausen beats The Miz, 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 and Danhausen beats The Miz. Oh, and then he also beat Danhausen.
How many times?
And then he also beat The Miz about 4 days ago at another house show. So, jeez.
Oh my god. This is The Miz now for the rest of his life. He's gonna be feuding with Danhausen for the rest of his career. And when he goes to another wrestling company, they're gonna ask him, what he's done, recently. And he's like, yeah, I was in a 10-year feud against Danhausen, and I lost.
Every time.
Every time. Like, what the hell, man? Anyway, we'll move on from that, I guess, to...
Ethan Page versus Rey Mysterio. So, Ethan Page beat Dragon Lee last week. He seems to be running back the Chad Gable angle, where he is now anti-luchador, which is a choice, I guess. I mean, Guard did this whole damn angle, and it ended up in one of the greatest matches of all time, so sure, why not run it back? I think that he loses to Rey Mysterio this time thanks to interference. Rusev tries to interfere, Penta gets involved, and Ethan Page takes the L on this one to Rey Mysterio. I think this is building for possibly an IC title 3-way, maybe a 4-way between Ethan Page, Rusev, Penta, and Chad Gable at SummerSlam. So,
okay, sounds good. Okay. So, is there any sort of, I guess, what would you have for Saturday Night's main event then, in that case, I guess? Because we have Saturday Night's main event in July. So, I guess the question is, what would you have for, this sort of, situation for Saturday Night's main event? If you would have one at all. Honestly, it's not MSG, so
I'd probably have Ethan Page lose to Penta at Saturday Night's main event. and then you have like a four-way or like a ladder match at SummerSlam between a bunch of people for the title. So
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll move on from that too.
we have a backstage segment. The Judgment Day are crashing out, so they lost their title shots. Roxanne and Raquel are worried. Liv is fucking apoplectic. JD is nursing another injury after losing to Chad Gable. And Liv just leaves with Dominic in tow. Raquel goes to check out what's happening with Liv, and then Roxanne, again, like you said, is left behind in the lurch, wondering what the fuck her purpose is in this group. And that is when Finn Balor slides back into the picture. I know he's been moved over to SmackDown according to the tournament, but I think that he's going to continue this angle because it really isn't finished, and I think this is perfect timing for him to come in. And telling Roxanne, hey, you don't need to be a part of the Judgment Day anymore. You don't need them. And I think this continues to sow seeds for the final time, we can break up this damn group. If we're not going to do it now, it's never going to happen.
This is it, huh? This is the last opportunity.
This has to be, Bryan. This has to be. We have to do it this time.
Okay.
There's no... It's the curse of Danhausen. This is the only thing that can break up this damn group. It's the only thing.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. I mean, there's a huge probability that it might. I mean, considering the whole Roxanne angle and the Danhausen curse, for sure. I could definitely see breakup of the Judgment Day thing happening. I guess this is... Yeah, it's more for SmackDown anyway, because Finn Balor's over there. I guess, yeah. We'll see if the Judgment Day break up, I guess. If not, then... I don't know. Maybe someone in there loves the Judgment Day. It could be Triple H or whoever. But someone in there must love the Judgment Day. That's for sure. Anyway, we'll move on from that to...
The main event, we have Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu versus Seth Rollins and Oba Femi. So Seth Rollins, after being attacked by Jacob Fatu, goes backstage looking for revenge against Jacob Fatu. Oba Femi is back there talking to Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce says, alright, both of you apparently have beef with the Bloodline, so congratulations, you guys are in a tag team match tonight in the main event versus the Bloodline. And the Bloodline decide that they're going to roll with Jacob Fatu, and Jimmy Uso steps up to get revenge for his little brother at King of the Ring. And I think that this ends in a disqualification when Jey Uso gets involved along with Roman Reigns in the match, and it just turns out into an all-out brawl where Seth Rollins is laid out and Oba Femi is outside the ring after being taken out by Jimmy, Jay, and Jacob Fatu. I know they've been booking Oba extremely strong lately, and that's fine. But I think that people are starting to feel that he is very predictable. When anyone gets in a match with him, it's basically a squash, and I think you need to make him look a little bit beatable, like Jay did last night or on Saturday. So I think this is what happens. I think that Oba, he doesn't take the pinfall here. He doesn't get beaten up. He kind of just is tossed out of the ring maybe by Jimmy and Jacob and Jay. And Seth Rollins is the one who ends up taking the brunt of this attack. So.
Okay. So are you predicting that Oba is getting the title at SummerSlam?
No, I don't think so. I think that he beats Brock Lesnar night one, but it's a pretty tough affair. And I think that they use that as a justification for why he loses to Roman night two. Also, maybe the Bloodline getting involved as well. So.
Okay. Do you think there's any implications for the War Games match after that? Could you see Seth, I guess, joining the MFT or this opposition group to the Bloodline? Whatever it's called?
Well, the MFT are dead, Bryan. The MFT are gone.
the new MFT 2.0. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Talatonga and Tamatonga said that they're done with Solo, so Solo is now Solo.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I don't know what Solo's beef is. Maybe he joins the Bloodline again. I don't know. I think he gets into a feud with LA Knight. That seems to be the thing here, so...
Ah, yes. Another jobbing point. Okay. Fair enough, I guess. And, I guess with that downer, I suppose that's about it. That's all we got for our predictions and bookings for the next episode of Monday Night Raw as we head closer to SummerSlam and Saturday Night's main event in July, whatever that is going to be. And as I said earlier, we will score our predictions and bookings based on what we think will happen on that episode. And we will come back here and tell you what we got, and we'll do this whole thing over again. So until then, thank you for ordering a slice, or probably next week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, everybody.